In the cold silence of space, where no stars dare to shine, lies a mystery older than time itself. Black boxes from vanished starships hold more than data, they hold warnings. Warnings humanity was never meant to hear. What was discovered in those recordings will change everything you thought you knew about survival, ambition, and the true cost of exploration. But beware, some secrets are better left buried. If you're ready to uncover what lies beyond the edge of understanding, subscribe now and prepare for the truth. Out in the vast expanse of interstellar darkness, where even light seems reluctant to travel, there exists a region known only as Sector K-42. It is a place avoided by all but the most desperate or foolhardy explorers. Here, amidst swirling nebulae that glow faintly with colors unseen by human eyes, drifts an ancient beacon, a relic of some forgotten mission, its signal weak but persistent. For decades, this beacon has called out across the void, broadcasting coordinates to anyone who might listen. And finally, someone did. The recovery vessel, Erebus, approached cautiously, its crew wary of the stories whispered among spacers about ships lost without explanation near these coordinates. Yet curiosity outweighed caution, as it so often does when faced with the promise of discovery. As they drew closer, their sensors detected something extraordinary. Not one, but three black boxes adrift in the vacuum, each emitting faint electromagnetic pulses. These were flight recorders, designed to withstand catastrophic destruction and preserve vital information. They belonged to ships long presumed destroyed, their crews vanished without trace. The implications sent shivers through the bridge of the Erebus Dash. Recovering such artifacts could rewrite history or doom them all. The decision to retrieve the black boxes came swiftly, though not without dissent. Some aboard argued that tampering with relics from doomed missions invited disaster. Others saw opportunity, a chance to unlock mysteries that had haunted generations of spacefarers. Captain Vera, pragmatic yet haunted by her own past failures, sided with the latter group. She ordered the deployment of drones to secure the devices, ensuring minimal risk to her crew. As the first box was brought aboard, encased in protective shielding, the mood shifted palpably. There was excitement, yes, but also unease. The object seemed almost alive, humming softly despite being powered down. Its surface bore scars from unimaginable forces, heat fractures, micrometeorite impacts, and strange burn patterns unlike anything seen before. Technicians worked tirelessly to interface with the recorder, piecing together fragments of corrupted data. Initial scans revealed timestamps stretching back over 2 centuries, far older than any recorded mission in the sector. This wasn't just debris, it was a time capsule of terror. Meanwhile, outside the ship's reinforced hull, the void loomed ominously. Stars twinkled faintly, distant pinpricks of light against an infinite canvas of blackness. To stare too long into that abyss was to feel insignificant, vulnerable. And yet, within the heart of the Erebus Dash, hope burned brightly. Perhaps these black boxes held answers, not merely to why these ships had perished, but to questions no one had dared ask. Questions about what truly waited beyond the boundaries of explored space. When the first recording began to play, it was fragmented, disjointed. Static crackled between bursts of audio, voices distorted by time and interference. At first, it sounded like routine chatter, crew members exchanging updates, discussing course corrections, sharing idle banter. But then came the shift. Subtle at first, almost imperceptible, until the tone grew strained. Words became clipped, sentences unfinished. Fear crept into every syllable, unspoken but undeniable. The captain of the lost ship spoke most frequently, his voice calm but tinged with growing desperation. He described anomalies, readings that defied logic, gravitational distortions that shouldn't exist, and inexplicable phenomena that disrupted navigation systems. His final log entry was barely coherent, a raw scream of panic drowned out by overwhelming noise. Then silence. What followed chilled everyone who listened. Between the static emerged sounds no human should have heard, low rumbles that resonated deep in the chest, whispers that seemed to echo directly inside the mind. These weren't mechanical failures or environmental interference. They were something else entirely, something sentient. Technicians cross-referenced the timestamps with known events in the sector's history. No official records matched the dates. Whatever these ships had encountered, it hadn't been documented. Or perhaps it had been deliberately erased. Either way, the implications were staggering. Humanity had ventured into the unknown countless times. But this felt different. This felt forbidden. With the first black box partially decoded, attention turned to the second. Unlike the first, this recorder appeared pristine, untouched by damage. Its casing gleamed under the harsh fluorescent lights of the lab, reflecting the faces of those gathered around it. Hope mingled with dread as the team initiated playback. This time, the transmission was clearer, almost eerily so. The logs detailed a scientific expedition tasked with studying a newly discovered exoplanet orbiting a dying star. The planet itself was barren, lifeless, yet possessed unique properties that intrigued researchers. Magnetic fields pulsed erratically, atmospheric composition shifted unpredictably, and seismic activity occurred in patterns too precise to be natural. At first, the crew marveled at their findings, documenting everything with meticulous care. But as days turned to weeks, cracks began to form, not in the planet's surface, but in the crew's sanity. Paranoia spread like wildfire, fueled by sleep deprivation, hallucinations, and arguments over increasingly irrational theories. One scientist claimed the planet was alive, not biologically but energetically, feeding off the fear and discord it inspired. Another insisted they were being watched, though by whom or what remained unclear. The captain tried to maintain order, but his authority crumbled as the situation spiraled out of control. By the end, the logs devolved into chaos, shouts, screams, pleas for help directed at no one. The last entry consisted of a single word repeated endlessly: leave. Then, abruptly, silence. The parallels between the two sets of logs were impossible to ignore. Both missions had encountered phenomena beyond comprehension, both had unraveled under pressure, and both had ended in catastrophe. But what connected them? Was it mere coincidence, or part of a larger pattern waiting to be uncovered? By the time the third black box was brought online, the atmosphere aboard the Erebus had grown oppressive. Crew members moved quietly, speaking in hushed tones if at all. Sleep eluded many, plagued by vivid dreams of shadowy figures and echoing voices. Even Captain Vera, typically unflappable, found herself questioning whether continuing this investigation was worth the cost. Yet the allure of knowledge proved irresistible. The third recording differed starkly from the others. It wasn't fragmented or chaotic. Instead, it flowed smoothly, almost hypnotically. The narrator spoke slowly, deliberately, as if choosing each word with great care. He introduced himself as Commander Elias Rourke, leader of a classified military operation codenamed Veilbreaker. His mission, he explained, was to investigate rumors of an alien artifact hidden deep within Sector K-42. Rumors suggested the artifact possessed technology capable of altering reality itself. Commander Rourke's account painted a picture of obsession. His superiors dismissed his warnings, dismissing the dangers as exaggerations. Undeterred, he pressed forward, driven by a mix of duty and hubris. As his ship approached the artifact, strange occurrences multiplied. Equipment malfunctioned, crew members reported seeing apparitions, and communication channels filled with garbled messages and languages none could identify. Despite mounting evidence of danger, Rourke refused to abort the mission. His final log entry revealed the horrifying truth. The artifact wasn't inert, it was aware. It communicated not through words, but through sensations, emotions, memories forcibly implanted into the minds of those nearby. Entire sections of his crew succumbed to madness, attacking one another or themselves. In the end, Rourke made a choice. He activated the self-destruct sequence, sacrificing his ship to prevent the artifact's influence from spreading further. His last words were chilling: "If you find this, do not follow us. Turn back while you still can." As the recordings played on repeat, analysts scoured the data for connections. Patterns emerged, subtle but undeniable. Each mission had ventured into the same region of space, drawn by promises of discovery or conquest. Each had encountered anomalies defying conventional physics. And each had met a grim fate, leaving behind only fragmented clues. One recurring theme stood out: references to an entity or presence referred to variously as the Voice, the Watcher, or simply it. Descriptions varied wildly, ranging from benevolent guide to malevolent predator. Some logs hinted at attempts at communication, others at outright hostility. What remained consistent was the sense of inevitability, that once contact was made, escape became impossible. Further analysis revealed discrepancies in the timestamps. While the missions appeared sequential, certain events overlapped chronologically. How could multiple ships experience similar phenomena simultaneously? The answer lay in quantum mechanics, or something beyond it. Time, space, causality itself seemed warped within Sector K-42. Perhaps the very act of observing the anomaly altered reality, creating feedback loops that trapped unsuspecting travelers. These revelations sparked heated debate among the Erebus crew. Should they attempt to locate the source of these disturbances? Could they risk confronting whatever force had claimed so many lives? Or should they abandon the mission entirely, preserving their safety at the cost of potential breakthroughs? Captain Vera wrestled with these questions, torn between her duty to explore and her responsibility to protect her people. Amidst the uncertainty, one thing became clear: the secrets contained within the black boxes were only the beginning. Far greater mysteries awaited, and far greater dangers. With each new revelation, the burden of knowledge grew heavier. The crew of the Erebus found themselves caught in a paradox. The more they learned, the less they understood. Data points contradicted one another, theories crumbled under scrutiny, and the line between fact and speculation blurred. Yet abandoning the investigation felt equally untenable. To walk away now would mean surrendering to ignorance, leaving future generations vulnerable to the same fate that had befallen the lost ships. Captain Vera convened a meeting with her senior officers, seeking consensus on how to proceed. Opinions diverged sharply. Chief Engineer Draven argued for immediate withdrawal, citing the escalating instability among the crew and the increasing likelihood of encountering hostile forces. Science Officer Lin countered that retreating would squander a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to advance humanity's understanding of the universe. Others hesitated, torn between fear and ambition. Ultimately, the decision rested with Vera. She chose a middle path: extend the investigation for a limited time, gathering as much data as possible while maintaining contingency plans for rapid evacuation. This compromise satisfied neither faction fully, but it bought precious hours to delve deeper into the enigma. Meanwhile, efforts to decode the remaining fragments of the black boxes intensified. Hidden within corrupted files lay tantalizing glimpses of imagery, distorted visuals hinting at structures too large to comprehend, landscapes bathed in unearthly light, and shapes moving just beyond perception. Were these artifacts of alien design, remnants of civilizations long extinct, or products of malfunctioning sensors? Without definitive answers, speculation ran rampant. Through it all, the tension aboard the Erebus reached a breaking point. Conversations grew terse, tempers flared, and trust eroded. Every shadow seemed darker, every sound louder. The weight of what they sought to uncover pressed down on them, warping their thoughts and testing their resolve. Some began to wonder if the real danger wasn't external, but internal. As decoding efforts continued, a breakthrough emerged. Buried within layers of encrypted data was a partial schematic, a map detailing the location of the mysterious artifact mentioned by Commander Rourke. Though incomplete, it provided enough detail to plot a course. Against mounting protests, Captain Vera ordered the Erebus to proceed cautiously toward the coordinates, armed with every precautionary measure available. Hours stretched into days as the ship navigated treacherous terrain marked by gravitational anomalies and radiation spikes. Instruments fluctuated wildly, readings shifting unpredictably. Crew members reported strange sensations: tingling skin, phantom touches, fleeting visions of figures standing just out of sight. Morale plummeted, replaced by a pervasive sense of dread. Finally, they arrived. Floating amidst a field of debris was a massive structure, unlike anything ever recorded. Its surface shimmered with iridescent hues, refracting light in impossible ways. Geometric patterns shifted constantly, appearing to pulse with a rhythm akin to breathing. Sensors registered energy signatures off the charts, yet no heat or emissions detectable by conventional means. It was beautiful and terrifying. Closer inspection revealed intricate carvings etched into the surface, resembling symbols from ancient Earth cultures fused with alien designs. These markings seemed to writhe under scrutiny, as if alive. Attempts to scan the artifact yielded inconsistent results, suggesting it existed simultaneously in multiple dimensions. Communication arrays picked up faint signals, whispers, clicks, hums forming a language incomprehensible yet strangely familiar. The realization dawned slowly. This was no mere relic. It was intelligent, aware, possibly even conscious. And it knew they were there. Approaching the artifact required careful deliberation. Every step brought fresh challenges. The air thickened with static electricity, lights flickered unpredictably, and instruments displayed erratic readings. Despite these obstacles, the crew pressed onward, driven by equal parts fascination and fear. Inside the observation deck, monitors displayed live feeds of the artifact, its pulsating surface casting eerie reflections across tense faces. Initial attempts at communication involved transmitting mathematical sequences and basic linguistic constructs. Responses came swiftly, though not in expected forms. Instead of structured replies, the artifact emitted waves of sensory input, colors, textures, emotions flooding the minds of those nearby. Some recoiled in horror, overwhelmed by the intensity. Others experienced moments of profound clarity, glimpsing truths beyond human comprehension. Science Officer Lin theorized that traditional methods of interaction might be insufficient. The artifact didn't communicate through words or symbols, but through direct neural stimulation. To engage meaningfully, they needed to adapt, to open themselves fully to its influence. This proposal ignited fierce debate. Allowing such intimate access carried immense risks, potentially compromising mental stability or worse. Yet refusing to engage meant forfeiting invaluable insights. After much deliberation, a small team volunteered to establish closer contact. Equipped with neural dampeners and monitoring devices, they ventured closer, braving the artifact's aura. As they neared, the sensations intensified. Visions of vast galaxies collapsing, civilizations rising and falling, timelines converging and diverging. Amidst this torrent of information, one message stood clear: you are not alone. Though cryptic, this declaration carried profound implications. Humanity's place in the cosmos suddenly felt infinitesimal, dwarfed by entities operating on scales unimaginable. Questions arose: who built the artifact? What purpose did it serve? And why had it chosen now to reveal itself? As the artifact's influence permeated the Erebus Dash, changes rippled through the crew. Minor at first, heightened intuition, vivid dreams, fleeting moments of déjà vu, but gradually escalating. Individuals reported experiencing memories not their own, flashes of other lives lived under alien suns. Conversations took on surreal qualities, as if participants shared thoughts rather than vocalized them. Boundaries between self and other blurred dangerously. Captain Vera struggled to maintain command amidst this metamorphosis. Orders issued with authority dissolved into collaborative discussions, decisions shaped collectively rather than hierarchically. Discipline wavered, replaced by a fragile harmony born of shared vulnerability. Some embraced the transformation, viewing it as evolution. Others resisted fiercely, clinging to individuality as identity fractured. Simultaneously, interactions with the artifact grew more complex. Patterns emerged from the sensory overload, sequences hinting at instructions, warnings, invitations. Piecing these together became paramount. Technical teams worked tirelessly, correlating experiences with recorded data, searching for coherence amidst chaos. Their findings painted a sobering picture. The artifact served as a nexus, connecting disparate points across space-time. Civilizations had risen and fallen under its gaze, drawn inexorably toward its promise of transcendence. Few survived intact, most collapsed under the strain of expanded consciousness. Those who endured paid dearly, sacrificing autonomy for unity, mortality for eternity. Faced with this legacy, the crew grappled with their role. Should they sever ties, preserving humanity's independence at the cost of enlightenment? Or embrace integration, risking annihilation for the chance to join something greater? Neither path offered guarantees, only uncertainty tempered by hope or despair. Tensions aboard the Erebus reached a crescendo as divisions widened. Supporters of continued engagement argued passionately for embracing the artifact's gifts, framing resistance as cowardice. Opponents countered with dire predictions of cultural collapse, warning that assimilation equated to extinction. Debates escalated into confrontations, tempers flaring as exhaustion frayed nerves. Captain Vera found herself increasingly isolated, unable to reconcile opposing viewpoints. Her leadership faltered, undermined by doubts gnawing at her resolve. Memories of past failures resurfaced, haunting her decisions. Trust eroded, replaced by suspicion and fear. Loyalty splintered along ideological lines, threatening cohesion entirely. Meanwhile, the artifact's presence loomed larger, its effects intensifying daily. Hallucinations proliferated, blurring reality. Equipment failures multiplied, jeopardizing essential functions. Isolation protocols implemented to contain exposure proved ineffective, as symptoms spread regardless. Panic simmered beneath forced composure, boiling over sporadically. In desperation, Vera authorized emergency measures, neural inhibitors distributed widely, quarantine zones established, strict curfews enforced. Yet even these precautions failed to stem the tide. Reports poured in of crew members disappearing, vanishing without trace during shifts or rest periods. Search parties dispatched to locate them returned empty-handed, shaken by encounters with indistinct forms lurking in shadows. The breaking point arrived unexpectedly. During a routine maintenance check, Chief Engineer Draven vanished. Surveillance footage captured nothing unusual, merely static obscuring critical seconds. When questioned, witnesses recounted conflicting accounts. Some claimed seeing him wander off willingly, others swore he was dragged away screaming. Speculation ran rampant, fueling paranoia. Without Draven's expertise, systems deteriorated rapidly. Power fluctuations destabilized life support, forcing evacuations to safer sections. Food supplies dwindled, rationing tightened. Chaos reigned, unchecked by authority. The Erebus teetered on the brink of collapse, mirroring the fate of ships before it. Amidst the turmoil, Science Officer Lin proposed a radical solution. Drawing upon fragmented logs and decoded transmissions, she hypothesized that the artifact functioned as both prison and gateway. Trapped within its confines lay an entity of unimaginable power, yearning for release. Previous missions had unwittingly facilitated partial liberation, triggering catastrophic consequences. Only complete containment or utter destruction could prevent recurrence. Her theory gained traction reluctantly, skepticism giving way to grim acceptance. Evidence supported her claims, patterns of behavior aligning with descriptions of captivity, bursts of energy correlating with attempted escapes. If true, humanity stood poised on the precipice of unleashing horrors beyond comprehension. Armed with this insight, the crew regrouped, rallying around a singular goal: neutralization. Plans crystallized hastily, leveraging available resources creatively. Neural inhibitors repurposed as disruptors, targeting specific frequencies identified during earlier experiments. Tactical teams drilled relentlessly, preparing for scenarios ranging from stealth infiltration to full-scale assault. Simultaneously, diplomatic efforts commenced. Messages broadcast repeatedly into the void, appealing directly to the entity. Offers of negotiation, assurances of peaceful coexistence, pledges of non-interference, all met with silence. Determination hardened into resolve. If diplomacy failed, force remained the sole recourse. Preparations culminated in a harrowing countdown. Final checks completed, contingencies reviewed, farewells exchanged quietly. As the moment approached, a palpable stillness settled over the Erebus dash. Hearts pounded in unison, breaths held collectively. Outside, the artifact pulsed expectantly, sensing impending confrontation. Within, courage tempered by terror awaited the outcome. The operation unfolded with precision born of desperation. Teams deployed strategically, positioning disruptors at calculated intervals surrounding the artifact. Cloaked in stealth fields, they advanced methodically, guided by synchronized communications. Tension mounted with each step closer, anticipation thickening the air. Activation sequences initiated simultaneously, bathing the artifact in waves of targeted interference. Its surface rippled violently, colors bleeding into darkness. Patterns shifted erratically, resisting suppression. Feedback loops triggered alarms throughout the vicinity, warning of imminent overload. Inside the Erebus dash, monitors displayed fluctuating readings, graphs spiking erratically. Crew members monitored progress anxiously, hands poised over controls ready to execute contingency plans. Seconds stretched agonizingly, uncertainty gripping hearts tightly. Suddenly, a piercing shriek erupted, reverberating through hulls and bones alike. The artifact convulsed, shedding layers of iridescence. Cracks formed along its surface, widening rapidly. From within surged a maelstrom of energy, chaotic yet purposeful. Shapes coalesced briefly: limbs, wings, eyes, before dissolving anew. Panic threatened to overwhelm discipline. Orders barked urgently, reinforcing formations, adjusting frequencies. Disruptors amplified, pushing limits dangerously high. Sparks flew as circuits overloaded, smoke curling ominously. Still, the entity fought back, lashing out with tendrils of pure force. Then, unexpectedly, silence. The artifact stilled, fissures sealing seamlessly. Energy dissipated, leaving behind an eerie calm. Monitors stabilized, readings returning to baseline. Relief washed over the crew, tentative yet overwhelming. Had they succeeded? Or merely delayed inevitable catastrophe? Exhaustion settled heavily as victory, or survival, was declared. Bodies slumped against walls, limbs trembling with spent adrenaline. Cheers erupted sporadically, punctuated by sobs of relief. Bonds forged in crisis solidified, uniting survivors in shared trauma. Assessment began immediately. Damage tallied, casualties accounted for, resources redistributed. Repairs prioritized critical systems, ensuring functionality sufficient for departure. Medical teams treated injuries physical and psychological, addressing wounds visible and hidden. Reflection dominated discussions. What precisely had transpired remained unclear, interpretations varying widely. Some viewed triumph narrowly avoided, crediting strategy and sacrifice. Others perceived failure masked thinly, fearing residual threats lingering undetected. Consensus eluded grasp, perspectives colored by personal experiences. Debriefings documented extensively, preserving details meticulously. Logs supplemented with subjective accounts, capturing nuances objective measures missed. Intent-focused preservation, for posterity, for analysis, for prevention. Lessons learned distilled into guidelines, shaping future endeavors cautiously. Departure scheduled cautiously, preparations thorough yet expedient. Coordinates plotted carefully, trajectories avoiding known hazards. Engines warmed gradually, systems checked redundantly. Farewells extended silently, gratitude conveyed wordlessly. Beyond viewports, the artifact receded, shrinking into distance. Back within familiar territories, the Erebus limped homeward, bearing scars testament to trials endured. News spread rapidly, igniting debates globally. Official reports sanitized selectively, omitting sensitive elements deemed destabilizing. Public reactions ranged wildly, from awe-inspired admiration to vehement condemnation. For the crew, transition proved challenging. Acclimation difficult, reintegrating awkwardly. Nightmares persisted, echoes lingering stubbornly. Relationships strained, dynamics altered irreversibly. Yet resilience prevailed, bolstered by camaraderie forged uniquely. Impact extended broadly. Policies revised, protocols updated, funding redirected. Exploration initiatives scrutinized rigorously, priorities reassessed thoughtfully. Scientific communities galvanized, pursuing avenues previously dismissed. Philosophical discourse flourished, grappling implications profoundly. Ultimately, legacy defined ambivalently. Triumph celebrated cautiously, tragedy mourned privately. Questions lingered unanswered, mysteries preserved respectfully. Future generations inherited burdensome inheritance, knowledge empowering yet daunting. Choices awaited, paths branching infinitely. Subscribe now to stay updated on humanity's ongoing journey into the cosmos and the secrets we dare to uncover.